Let me give you some more everyday life examples of the embodied divine masculine. Last video, I think we focused mostly on the embodiment of the divine feminine in everyday life. So let us focus a little bit more on the masculine. One, boundaries. Setting strong boundaries, holding those strong boundaries, not collapsing, which is the distortion. These could be boundaries with your partner, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife. These are often the most difficult to set these boundaries, and they are met with resistance. Like I said in one of the previous videos, the resistance isn't necessarily a bad thing. It really helps with the integration. When your partner is resisting those boundaries, it doesn't weaken your boundary, it actually strengthens it. This helps you integrate it to the point where it's embodied. Boundaries become natural. It just simply is. Purpose. Purpose is not something to be found, but something to be lived. If it is found, we can say it's found in your heart and it's lived in the world. Purpose is really aligned action. The divine masculine is about aligned action. So this aligned action, this purpose, and a lot of people have this sort of grand idea of what this purpose looks like. Living out some big mission, saving humanity. It's not that. It could be simply showing up for your kids, much like my everyday life. Being a family man, a father of 3, a loving husband. This could be purpose. Purpose of leading others to living truth, guiding others through the transformation process, which I express as my business. This could be purpose. Purposeful art. Purpose can be anything, but it's really, when boiled down to its essence, it's aligned action. Integrity. It's integrity, being whole, complete, undivided within yourself. The divine masculine, a man of integrity, or a woman of integrity. Again, the masculine is not limited to gender. So this integrity, being one, well, that's only part of it. The other part of integrity is when that's lived, right? And this is what is coherence or coherency. To live in coherence is really the alignment of your thoughts, your feelings, your actions with truth, the truth of you, so that they're undivided. You're not fragmented. It's not distorted. So that is coherency. You can say coherency is really integrity in motion. Discipline with your own life, discipline with others. Perhaps you're in the role of being a father or a mother. I see this discipline in my own life, has expanded, and it's discipline for my kids. You see that life without discipline, what that looks like. You see it being demonstrated in the world. And you can see how this lack of maturity is often the consequence of not being disciplined. You learn the hard way. But when you have discipline, then you get to taste the fruits of your labor. So disciplining my children, teaches them these masculine qualities. Could be something like just being punctual, showing up on time, teaching them through consequences of their own actions. As a parent, if we protect our child from experiencing consequences, then we sort of stunt their growth. So the discipline is needed for growth. I often refer to discipline as the root and devotion as the fruit. So this discipline, consequences is another one. Accountability, right? To be accountable for yourself. And this is something that I teach my kids. I hold them accountable. Another quality of the divine masculine in everyday life. In my life anyways, these are living examples for me. Being the initiator. So I'm not just raising my kids, I'm initiating my kids. I'm initiating my boys into manhood. Right, so every what looks like mundane activity, something simple, yard work, gardening, could actually be an initiation. The room, the discipline of cleaning the room, tidying the room, the discipline of work ethic, washing the car or washing the dishes or just helping around the house. These are those fundamentals of life that they get instilled in you. These qualities shape you. One who's not disciplined, not accountable, who knows no consequences of their actions. Well, you have more living to do, which will shape them. So what were we talking about? Initiation, right? Being an initiator. I see that with my children, as a guide, as a mentor, as a leader in my business, facilitating transformation. I am the initiator. What other qualities do we see here? Kind of touched on this with the boundaries, holding strong boundaries. You can also say holding the line. This is where you experience a little bit more of the warrior archetype being expressed. One that's not fighting to just pick fights for the sake of picking fights, but it also won't collapse and soften if there's injustice. It stands up for truth. It holds the line of truth. It won't be compromised. It won't agree to distortions. It won't fall for illusion. It will stand as truth. Honesty. It's kind of self-explanatory. Simplicity, order, structure. Order, structure. Structure could be an example for me. The structure of the week, having it on a calendar. I've got 3 kids, 12, 7, and 5 years old. And they have a lot of activities. We literally have an activity for each one of them every day of the week, except for Saturday and Sunday, really, but there's usually a birthday party what seems like almost every weekend, at least during the school year. When they're on summer vacation for 2 months, we go camping for that summer vacation. And we're gone for almost 2 months. But just seeing it on a calendar, make sure that these commitments are respected and honored, that they actually happen. They're treated as sacred. So that requires some structure, that requires some order. Without that, then there'd be a lack of commitment, the distortion of the masculine, flaky, uncommitted. You see this in the world. People just no-showing. So the calendar works there for order and structure and order in my finances, right? To, one, have a look, be aware of your finances. This could look like an audit, but really you're not auditing just money, but more so your energy. And it's keeping you in energetic alignment, holding you accountable so that you have integrity. Now, if we're blind to this, which I was for many years before, then it becomes a shadow. The money becomes a shadow. And this lack of order is experienced as financial chaos. So it starts with awareness, bringing awareness to the finances, the thing that you're putting off, the thing that you don't feel is important, the thing that you think is not worth your time. Well, that's usually where the problem is. So you bring awareness to that. You create structure, order. This could be financial containers that direct the flow of money. Having that audit, that assessment, you're cleaning up, right? You're cleaning up the chaos, patching the leaks, and these containers then are able to hold the flow of income without leaking. There's a structure that's created in your bank account, in your offerings, where the money is going. Every dollar has purpose. You are aware of the money coming in. The money's respected, it's honored, it flows through you. You're not hoarding it, and you're not resisting it. So this could be like a sacred spreadsheet where you're bringing order, structure to that area of your life that was chaotic. Accountability, order, clarity, just being clear, right? This could be simply knowing what you want in life, making clear decisions, right? The decisions that come from clarity, speaking clearly to someone. When I speak to my kids, when I speak to my wife, I'm very clear. When you have this clarity, you don't have to raise your voice, right? That's the chaos. The chaos is, again, when there's lack of clarity. When you have that clarity, then you see the structure and the order. It arises from that clarity. You're bringing the order and the structure to that chaos. It can hold the chaos. It can balance the chaos. But it's only from the clarity that you actually even want to look at, perhaps in the last example, your finances. Or from that clarity, you then want to simplify or refine your business. So you see that this simplicity and the order and the structure is like a natural extension from the clarity, the vision. That vision also helps you for what you're creating in the world, seeing it, structuring it, bringing it into form, whether it be your art, your business offering, whatever it is. You see it's coming from that clarity, the clarity of the type of life that you want to be living. You see how it's a natural extension that takes us to the next example of direction. Direction is another divine masculine quality. It's from that clarity, the vision, that then you have a sense of direction for your life. You can see where you're going. You can see where you're stepping. Without that clarity, without the vision, you are blind. So you can see, it's this clarity, it's this vision that then it can lead us to the next one, is penetration. It can penetrate through the illusion. It can see deeply into different areas of life. It's the clarity that can penetrate form and see the formless in form. See the essence of all expression. It's that clarity that then penetrates the relative. You experience that also with the words when they're coming from that clarity. They penetrate illusion. You're speaking clearly. It penetrates. It's like a sword. It just can just cut through illusion so swiftly, so precisely. It's another quality, precision. Right? You're not wasting effort. You know when to move. You're not a busybody. You're not just trying to be busy and fill space with your words. When you speak, people listen. Your voice is heard. Because it comes from that clarity. It's wisdom that speaks. Silence that speaks. So it has a precision to it. the precision in action, knowing when to act, when to not to act. This is experienced as efficiency, potency, this precision, knowing when to just offer something, when to say something, when to be silent. It's like just dropping something so potent. Sometimes I use the example of an essential oil. It's been refined and it's potent. So it's like you just drop it, but it's at the right time that you drop it. Your clarity, you can see the readiness of someone. You know when it's not going to be heard. Now it's the wrong time. And you stay silent and you wait for the right opportunity. And when you then speak and you offer that nugget of wisdom, then it's received. But any sooner and it would not be heard. There was no openness there. So precision, potency. The potency is really about power, embodying the power. The distortion is seeking the power. Divine masculine does not seek power, it embodies power. Honor. You honor yourself and all of life, and this honor, this respect, this reverence is something that's held for everyone. You see, because you respect your, let's say your husband or your wife, you honor the sacred in them. They can feel that. It also becomes a natural extension, or I don't want to say it's a natural extension, it leads us to the next quality, which are standards. So you see in that example, by you honoring the sacred in your partner, the sacred in your kids, you can see, you don't see them as their conditioning. You can hold them to a higher standard. You know their potential. So you're not colluding with them. You're not agreeing to their illusion, because you recognize the true self in them, and because you know your own potential and you hold yourself accountable, that then you can hold them accountable. You can ask them to rise to the higher standard that you're living. Your very presence will be the initiation for others. They will feel like you are calling them forward. You're calling them forth. You're asking them to rise. This is part of the next quality, leadership. This leadership is a mix of some of the stuff that we have already mentioned. Clarity. There's no leadership without clarity. There's no leadership without vision. There's no leadership without respect. There's no leadership without honor. There's no leadership without power. There's no leadership without responsibility. There's no leadership without initiation. So you see this leadership, it calls the ones who who are ready to rise to their highest potential. The direction, the guidance, the wisdom. Those who are experiencing your leadership will feel that respect. You won't be a pushover, and you won't tolerate lies. And for that reason, you're respected. Those aren't the only reasons, but I'm not going to make it too long with the list, but those are some. They respect that. You're a man of your word, a woman of your word. It means something. They respect you for your courage. Leadership takes courage. Courage is another quality. To not run, to not hide. The courage of being vulnerable, to be exposed when it's so easy to hide. The courage to stay when it's so easy to run. The courage to walk your path when it's so easy to bypass. So courage is another one. What other examples in daily life here? We mentioned quite a few. Containment is another one. This one kind of goes hand in hand with boundaries. Boundaries can be thresholds, initiations, but they also can be your own containment, where you're containing your energy, you're not leaking. Stability, groundedness, consistency, these are qualities of the divine masculine. Showing up consistently. The distortion is wanting to show up once in a while. It's very performative. The distorted masculine wants to be seen. The divine masculine is that which is seeing. It has no interest in wanting to be seen. It doesn't want an applause. It doesn't want any recognition. It's steadfast. It's silent. The integrity, it shows up even when no one's looking. There's a coherency when no one's looking. When no one's holding you accountable, it's you that's holding yourself accountable. So you see, in those times, you're not doing it for anyone. You're not doing it for an applause. No one's going to hand you some trophy. You're not getting a participation award. I mean, showing up fully, participating in life, that is the reward. But this whole distortion of wanting attention, wanting to be seen, performing, you're no longer performing. You're showing up authentically every day. It's this consistency, this stability that gives others a sense of safety. They feel safe in your presence. You're showing up. Your presence grounds them. It's the stability. It's the ground that they're walking on. It supports them. They can trust their step. So how does this look? This getting off track here, not giving you enough examples. This looks like very simple. Driving your kids to activities, right? They can count on you. You're showing up every day. You're putting food on the table. You're cooking for them. You're there to read them a book at night. When they need someone to talk to, you're there. You're there when you can. Their school concerts or their graduations or field trips. These are some that I've already named in another video. That's how I show up for my family, for my kids, showing up for my wife when she's having a hard time, having a rough day, needs that support to just know that I'm taking care of the dinner or got the yard already groomed or trimmed or what have you. Dishes, floors. You can support in that way. This is where I guess the overarching quality here could be service, right? Showing up in my business to serve. I'm showing up in my family to serve. I'm showing up in my kids' school, my community to serve. But this is coming from overflow. It's not coming from lack. It's not coming from trying to perform and prove yourself. The divine masculine is not trying to prove himself. He knows who he is. These things are not done for recognition. They're not done for Instagram likes or more followers on YouTube. It's authentic. And it's coming from overflow. It's your natural expression. You're not trying to volunteer to be seen as more spiritual. You're not trying to do everything around your house to show how helpful and supportive you are. You offer service without sacrificing yourself. So you're no longer in this distortion of service through self-sacrifice. When you serve from a full cup, not from an empty cup. And people feel this. And you're not getting sucked into feeling guilty for not serving. You're not feeling guilty when you draw the line and set a boundary. There's a fine line between selfless service and self-abandonment. You're not abandoning yourself to go and serve the other. What your mind might think is selfish or make you feel guilty or shameful is really the distortion when it holds the virtue of selfless service, offering yourself for free or devaluing yourself And you see that actually serves no one. It doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve those who you want to serve. How can you truly serve the other at the expense of yourself? A lot of mothers get into this pattern where they serve their family all day, but then they're burning out. They don't put their basic needs forward. They're not met. And because of that, they're always serving from this place of lack, emptiness, the empty cup. Sort of like the airport or the airplane policy with the oxygen mask. You got to put your own oxygen mask on first, and then you help others. It's very similar to make time for yourself. You shouldn't feel guilty for making time for yourself. This is often when boundaries need to be created. Without those boundaries, then you're spilling your energy. This is why people feel drained, exhausted, tired. They can't see the leak. They can't see that it's not because you lack energy, but it's because you're leaking energy. So this could look like setting time aside every day, some me time, carving out some alone time to recharge, rejuvenate, rest, connect with the silence and the stillness within yourself. And then you see it's like you're charged up, and then you can serve from that place of fullness. And it's a world, what I want to say here, it's a radical difference, right? But if you don't, then you're always going to be running on fumes, burning out, where you always kind of put yourself last instead of putting yourself first. If you put yourself last and then you find that the day kind of gets away from you, you get lost in the chaos, and next thing you know it, you're passing out on the couch or in bed watching TV or whatever it is, and you didn't actually have that rest, right? It's not that we need a bunch of hours of sleep, but we do need rest. So prioritizing yourself without feeling guilty, without being ashamed, without feeling like the pull of the world takes you away from yourself. To carve out that sacred time, recharge, and from that place, you'll see that then what wants to come through is going to be much more effective. That when you serve from that place, it's much more effective. Let me give you one more, and then we'll end it. The strength of the divine masculine, right? The strength, it's the integrity, it's the wholeness, it's being one, undivided. This is the strength. This is the strength that others can feel, they won't name. You don't need anything from the world. There's a strength that you can't be manipulated. You can't be divided. There's just the strength of being whole, not fragmented. And this can be felt in everything that you do. This can be seen in the life that you live. Like I said, this strength of integrity is not just when you're standing strong, but when you move in the world. It's that coherency. It's like a radio signal, a strong signal. It's that clarity, like a clear signal. The strength of your transmission, the life that you live. To the one with eyes, it's obvious. It can be seen. Those who resonate recognize the strength. It's undeniable. It's knowing yourself, being yourself, living truth. And that's what I invite you to live. So join me in living truth.